Hey, so Jeff Gray up in North Carolina shared a few days ago his experiences during Hurricane Helene and a few tips, really good tips for storm preparedness and some experiences that he had had during Hurricane Helene. And I wanted to share one of those ideas with you that resulted in me making a cup of solar powered coffee. Good cup of coffee, by the way.
Hi there, my name's Ted. This is the Florida Science Channel. I'm Ted. I'm a teacher in Florida. I teach grade 6 Earth Space Science, so I create a lot of educational videos about science. I also create content for at-home suburban survival during a power down situation. I create videos for hiking and trails. My Colorado, Maine, Wyoming video series will start releasing next week. So if you want to stay informed of that, hit subscribe and you'll be up to date on those. I'm really looking forward to those videos. It was a great summer and I have a lot to share with you. I also do hiking, kayaking, camping, outdoor jeeping. So I've got a lot of things going on the channel. Hit like, subscribe. That really helps me out. I do not have any product affiliate links. I am not sponsored. So all of the things that I'm sharing with you were purchased with my own money. I have no affiliations with any of these companies. I just share with you my information that I've learned through my experience, and hopefully that'll help you as you're preparing for your next possible power down slash grid down scenario. They happened recently with Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton, and the best time to prepare is right now, every day. Be prepared before the storm warnings go up. At that point, it's almost too late to find anything. So I came across an absolutely brilliant idea yesterday. A friend up in North Carolina posted to his YouTube channel about some of his reflections on Hurricane Helene and some of the things that he learned and wanted to share some of those tips. And I thought this was brilliant. His wife had the best idea and I love it. Take a crock pot, hook it up to your battery backpack, and keep a crock pot of hot water on all day long. And I thought, brilliant on so many different levels. So I've powered up my crock pot, I've put it into the Jackery. Right now I'm drawing 53 watts total. Nope, excuse me, I lied. I'm drawing about 200 watts total power, and that wattage is powering that camera. That camera is on battery. This camera is wired directly into the Jackery. So I'm pulling. Oh, interesting. What happened? Oh, okay. I was curious about that. I did a beginner mistake. I've left my Jackery sitting in the sun and it has now overheated. So I was going to show you this to prevent that from happening, but since it happened live on camera, I'm going to go ahead and share now. This is my Mystery Ranch Bridger 55 backpack that I wore in Colorado. Before I show you what I want to, well, no, let me do the Jackery first. Got to get that cooled down. Got a lot of comments from people when they saw my pictures or they saw me hiking that said, hey, that's the smallest sleeping pad ever. It's actually not a sleeping pad. This is a thermal sitting pad. It's a Thermarest sitting pad. And it was great because when I got to a stop to pull this thing out, sit it down on a log and then sit on it, guess what? That reflective, you got your built-in seat warmer. So I'm just gonna take this off and place it over the Jackery, protected from the sun. I was going to show you that, but since it happened live on camera, we caught it, and now I'm just going to leave that there. And that now is going to allow the Jackery to cool back down and get ready to go again. Another tip that another viewer on one of my survival videos pointed out, and I love this, I love the YouTube community, because he shared with me something that I had been thinking while I was doing it. I had a garbage can over here filled with water from the storm, and I was talking about the Sawyer squeeze, and it's an absolute necessity. If you don't have one of these, you've got to have one in your home. You've got to have one in your car. Look, it's even got a little loop on top of it so that I can just loop it around, clip it in, and protect that pad from blowing off again. I love this thing. And then at night, when I was sleeping, I would take that and I'd slip it right under my midsection. I do have a sleeping pad that I use when I hike, but this goes right under my midsection, and it provides just another level of warmth right there on the hip. So anyway, he was a survival instructor, and he pointed out to me that when I opened my bag and dipped it into the water, the way that I did it, now I'm holding my finger on the tip of my Sawyer because the cap fell off, which I don't worry about. You can see all the water dripping off the outside of the bag. And where'd my towel go? There's my towel. There's my towel. He said, you got water dripping down the side of your bag, and that's going to contaminate your filtered water. And I said, you're absolutely right. When I'm on trail and I'm filtering, I mitigate that by holding the bag on a tilt, and that way as I squeeze, any drips that come out go over here and only filtered water goes into my bag. But his point, and it was absolutely correct, I never once thought about using the pack towel that was right on the side of my bag to just dry off the CNOC before I started filtering. That way, any contaminants that are in the water that you're filtering don't drip down inside into your filtered water. Brilliant, brilliant suggestion. And I had this on my pack just there. The other thing with a Sawyer is that after you finish it, this is clean water in the crock pot. So with that filtered water, you take your syringe, put it into the cap here, and then you got to back flush it. Ooh, yucky. That was actually quite dirty. So I am guilty of not having flushed. Okay, now it's clean. You want to do that a couple of times. Now, with those mudslides in North Carolina, that water was filled with sediment. You're going to want to filter that through a buff, a towel, a cheesecloth to get most of the major sediment out first, and then back flush it after you're done. Otherwise, the quality of the filter is going to degrade fairly quickly. Another tip that I got from a teacher at school that was sharing this with her students as a safety measure was their backpacks. And I didn't know this. I learned from the viewer that I should be wiping down the side of my CNOC, and I learned from another teacher at school that your backpack clips oftentimes have a built-in whistle. Now, I kept this whistle on my Mystery Ranch pack the entire time so that if anything happened, I could, if I'm completely debilitated in a ravine someplace, at least hopefully I can get down there and I've got a way to communicate with search and rescue. What I didn't realize, this pack does not have that feature, but a lot of the packs that your kids use in school have this built in, and or perhaps you're a student and you're using a pack. Check it out. Look at the pack clip. This is an orange pack clip. I had no idea. I was carrying that whistle over here, noob mistake, because this pack clip actually has a built-in whistle right on it. That's a really great safety feature. This, by the way, is my Hyperlight Southwest 55 that I used in Wyoming. I'll be doing a review of this pack and the Mystery Ranch pack, bag dump, all that kind of stuff. So hit subscribe to stay notified of all that content. And the last thing that I want to share with you before we dive into this is my Garmin InReach Mini. North Carolina was completely grid down, no power, no cell phone, no internet, completely cut off from communications. Now, before Hurricane Milton, I had prearranged with my sister in Virginia that should we go grid down, I still have my Garmin InReach Mini that allows me to use the Messenger app on my phone, and I would be able to communicate with my sister in Virginia as the point of contact for all of my out-of-state family, our condition here. I did not have to use that, but that's an important backup tool. It does require a subscription to use, but I carry that with me hiking. I carry it strapped to my pack at all times, and then when I get to camp, the first thing I do is take this off and I clip it to my belt loop, and that way the InReach is always with me. If I'm at camp and I stumble over a log and break a leg, I don't have to worry about dragging myself over there. I've got the InReach, I can hit the panic button and be in communication with emergency services. So this stays on my person at all times. If I'm hiking and I've got my pack on, it's on my pack. Okay, so let's go on. By the way, this is absolutely atrocious conditions for filming. Midday sun and a partly cloudy sky, harsh lighting. That's not why we're here. We're here to look at using solar backup and solar power to make a cup of coffee. Cool idea. So this is just a portable solar panel that I've got. Stays in. It's got a nice carrying case that it comes in. When I open the back, the charging cable is here. The extra plugs are in the pack. All I have to do is take the appropriate one off, plug it in, set it up. Let's see if we can get back on. Yep, we're back. See, hey, that worked. Putting that underneath that Thermarest for just a couple of minutes cooled it down enough that I'm now back on and running. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this into the solar input, and I've got, nope, we overheated again. Overheated, so I'm going to cover that up, and I'm going to set this up right in front of my table. Oh, we are just dropping everything. Hey, so real quick before we leave, I just want to share some details about my camera setup. I've got the camera on a tripod. You'll see that I've got a USB-C fan attached to that. One of the problems with these mirrorless cameras is they do overheat when you're recording video. So by having the fan on there and then having a solar umbrella, this is actually my Hyperlight solar umbrella that I used in Colorado and Wyoming, and it's just bungee corded to the tripod. On top of the camera, I've got my Rode video mic, my wireless mic, which you saw clipped to my shirt and to my buff. That's how I get the sound in there. But keeping the fan, keeping the umbrella keeps the camera cool. Cool camera equals happy camera equals happy content creator. All right, so I've got the Jackery on the solar panel, which is down in front of my table. Normally I would have the Jackery right behind the solar panel sitting in the shade, but for the purposes of this demonstration, my Crock-Pot has a really short cord on it. So right now I'm pulling 66 watts solar input. I've got about 30% battery remaining. I'm going to plug the Crock-Pot into the AC and turn the AC on. This is already turned on high. So as soon as that Crock-Pot kicks in, there we go. Right now, 186, 166, 167, pulling about, popped up to 200 watts. It's hovering right around 200 watts just to heat the Crock-Pot. Now, I've got 30 watts coming in on a cloudy day from a small 120 watt panel. I do have a Jackery 1000 on order. It's going to be here later this week. I'm going to do an unboxing and setup of that. And I've got two Renogy 200 watt solar panels that I'll be using with the Jackery 1000. So I'm going to repeat this test next weekend with the Jackery 1000 and 400 watts of solar input just to see what we can do. Now, this pot's already been heating up for a little bit. Once it comes to temperature and those burners kick down, that wattage should come down on the Jackery. And my friend's point was heat the water and just have a hot crock pot of water sitting on the counter all day long. I thought, brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. Normally, I would sit over here and I would use propane to heat my water for coffee. But, you know, you want to conserve resources, especially in a grid down scenario. So, hey, if we can do this with solar, how perfect is that? Because now I can use the power of the sun to make my coffee and not my propane, which really I want to conserve for other uses. Coffee's, well, coffee's critical. Let's not lie. Coffee's critical. So this is a kind of a proof of concept. Sun's coming out from behind those clouds. Let's just take a peek and see. 82 watts, so now I'm pulling 82 watts. The Crock-Pot at the moment is at 0 watts because the burners have kicked off. So my water's hot, I'm replenishing, I'm making solar powered coffee. I feel like I should do one of those slow cinematic coffee grind videos, but it's like 90 degrees out in full sun, so I'm not going to do that. I'll grind up my coffee. By the way, coffee grinder comes in really handy. Got a French press. I've used that French press for this particular one for probably 15 years camping. It's a glass press. One of them did break and it was replaced, and I've been using this one for, as I said, about 15 years. And I absolutely love it. So I'm just going to open that up. Slow cinematic coffee shop. I'll scoop out some hot water from the crock pot in my little titanium cook pot. I think this is a GSI. Yeah, GSI Hall Light Minimalist. And cover that. We're going to let that sit for 6 minutes. And while we're doing that, here was the most brilliant idea, I thought. Great reason to have that hot water on your counter all day so that you can do things. They were heating food in mason jars, which I thought was brilliant. Again, his wife thought of this, and you know what? It's a pretty smart lady right there. But at the end of the day, after dinner's done and coffee's done and the washing's done, guess what? Now I've got a hot water. Oh, even though it's hot in the sun right now. Yeah, I'll take that. Wash the sweat and the grime off. Dry off with a buff. Man, thank you for that tip. Because I'll tell you what, during Milton, when we were without power for 5 days, not having hot water was a thing. Now I could cook, I could clean, I could take a cold shower, but having a nice warm cloth just to get the grime off, and then when you're finished, okay, yeah, I probably shouldn't have thrown that on the grass, but hey, you know what I'm getting at, right? Now I can turn this off and leave it for the next day. So, hey, we got solar coffee. It hasn't been 6 minutes yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and press that out. Yeah, she's looking a little weak. I really should let that go for 6 minutes. So, tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wrap it up with a sip of the weakest solar coffee I've ever had, but I'll let that steep. Honestly, it's not bad. It's not bad. Steeps a little longer. She's going to be great. So there's just a few tips. If you found that helpful, give me a thumbs up. Love to hear your comments below. Share ideas. Hey, like I said, that one idea about wiping down the CNOC bag, that came from a viewer who made a comment on a video, and I responded to that immediately today. This idea with the Crock-Pot came from another channel on YouTube, and I'm going to put his link down in the description. But let me know what you're looking for. What kind of information do you want? What kind of information do you need as you're preparing for the next hurricane in Florida, maybe the next snowstorm in Wyoming, wherever you are? We know these things are going to be happening, and the best time to get prepared is right now.